Hey guys, I'm joined by Darren Sadler and the deadlift king himself, Andy Bolton, first man in the world to pull 1,000 pounds. We are here to talk about the up and coming Cardiff show, World Open and the Deadlift World Championships. We excited for this, boys?
Very excited.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
We've got a hell of a lineup.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I mean, everyone seems to be pulling big numbers on the lead up to it. Everyone's doing the final lifts this week now, which some of them look quite heavy, to be honest with you. They're still pulling heavy now.
It's crazy how heavy they're going.
That's the one thing driving over here today. There's a few of them that potentially can pull over 500, but I think the way they're trained, some of them, they go too heavy too soon, too close to the shore, and we're pulling them numbers. When I pull 1,000 pound, I mean, I tried it 7 times, got it twice. It's all about them tiny little details, them half a percentages. I mean, so
well, the reality of it is they're not going to get any stronger this week.
They're not.
So it's give it having as much energy as they can in the tank, I suppose. But everyone's different ways of training. But I think people are looking really good. And I mean, last time we did it, we had 6 or 7 over 1,000 pounds.
That was crazy.
This time, I think it'd be more. I'll be honest with
you. Yeah.
When you look at the lineup, we'll go through the lineup in a second. It could potentially be the most athletes ever to pull 1,000 pounds in a single competition.
Well, I mean, last year, obviously, nobody pulled 505, which is sort of a good thing in a way, because it makes it special. If world records went every time we tried, they wouldn't be special, would they? But I think what it was collectively was the best ever deadlift competition.
I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the improvement in depth.
Yeah.
We've always had incredible one-offs. I mean, Andy, obviously, Benedict Magnusson, Thor, Eddie, they've been incredible. But now we have so many athletes that are capable of these incredible numbers. And I think possibly, it's a big ask, but we could see 10 athletes pull 1,000 pounds, which that would just be, that to me would be as special as seeing one person pull 505.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, we were talking about it yesterday, in Strongman anyway. I mean, obviously powerlifting, when you pulled 1,000 pound, you were a long way in front of the strongmen. Yeah. But I remember back in 2007, the strongman world record was Kevin Nee, and it was 410.
Yeah,
that's not that long ago.
No, it's not.
And I remember when I pulled 400 kilos, I remember I knew everyone else that could pull 400 kilos. Whereas now we're open on it.
Yeah. Well, 2011, myself and Brian Shaw broke the strongman record with 430.
Yeah.
At the XL. So we're 11 years.
I was
on
at
from
that show.
Yeah, you were competing as well. 11 years on from that, we're talking 75 kilos more.
Yeah.
Which is...
It's mad, isn't it?
Scary.
Well, percentage-wise, if you look at other sports, has anybody got up that percent? If you look at any other sport, even weight sports, have they gone up by that percent?
But it's deadlift as well. It's not like a squat and bench shirts when the equipment's going so far now ahead.
Yeah.
The double ply, triple ply squat suits with briefs underneath. Deadlift, there's no suit that's going to make it that much easier.
Yeah.
It might give you 10 kilos here and there, but it's not going to launch it like it has done. It's just a standard lifting. I mean, they're learning more the diet, nutrition, the way they train. Everything's just nailed now, I think.
Yeah. And also, a lot of that's possibly down to the internet as well, because the information's there for people.
Yeah.
You don't need to particularly, I mean, it's great having a coach, but you can learn a lot just by fishing around.
Do you think also, with you putting the Deadlift Championships on in 2014, the first year, that has made people want to deadlift, want to come to these big shows, big prize money, for 10,000 people watching you deadlift? I didn't get that when I pulled 1,000 pound. 2,000 people maybe at most. Now, you're a good deadlifter, come to Giants Live, how many people, fans at Leeds Arena screaming?
Massive, yeah.
It makes you want to go there, doesn't it? Forget about the money, just to be in front of that crowd.
Yeah. 2016, when Eddie pulled 500, that atmosphere was incredible.
Yeah.
Man, it was unbelievable.
I was lucky enough to compete in front of that crowd and win Europe's Strongest Man. To see, like Andy just said then, when you pulled 1,000 pounds, it was in a sports hall. With some people watching.
Yeah.
Now we're competing in these big arenas.
Massive.
It actually means something, and we've got people that follow the sport all year round. And then you said about, we've got the internet now where we can get research. We can research things easily. You've got guys like Andy, myself, yourself that pass on what we learned to the next generation.
You can message us now, can't you? I get loads of messages on the day. How do you train this? When you did 1,000, what were your last weight you went up to? And I tell them. I didn't have that when I was doing it. I was doing it blind. We're learning ourselves.
When we started, you go to the strongest guy in the gym.
Yeah, and you have to.
Now you can get the strongest guys on the planet.
You can just message them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're nice enough, they'll send you a message back. They'll tell you how to do it.
And also, I mean, things have moved on. I mean, I see a bit of criticism always that, prize money wise, it's $55,000, dollars, and always is that all it is? Well, the sport's still growing, but no one's ever got that sort of money from a strongman lift before.
No.
I
got $10,000 from $10,000 from £1,000 deadlift in 2006.
So at least the money's coming as well.
But when I broke it again in 2009, I didn't get a penny.
Yeah.
No. $1,000 for breaking the record.
Did you?
It was the first man to do 1,000. He promised me 10,000.
But also, it's like how it sets people up as well. Because I'm pretty sure Eddie's done some fabulous stuff, as of you guys. But I think pulling a world record deadlift like Eddie did there must have been a lot of more sponsorship and notoriety from doing that.
I agree, but I think it was the setting that he did it in. Because I do see this a lot now with records, and I sometimes stop enjoying records when I see it being forced all the time.
Yeah.
You want to see these big lifts done on a big stage. Yeah. So the Giants Live Deadlift World Championships, you get TV exposure, you're in front of a huge crowd, it's got the best guys in the world, it means something. I don't like seeing records all the time in smaller shows because it becomes hard to follow.
I agree, yeah.
No, it sort of brings you to the Thor deadlift thing really, which is unbelievable. Like Thor pulling the 501 was unbelievable. Like that, there's no question it was 501. But wouldn't it have been nice to have it in front of a big crowd? And it's what I mean. It's no criticism. We were in lockdown, so it gives us all something to watch, which is great. But it's almost a shame for Thor that it couldn't be done anywhere really in front of a crowd.
How good would it have been to see Eddie and Thor go head to head one last time?
That would have
been amazing.
It lost out there, Thor, for me, because that sort of lift has to be done in front of people.
Yeah.
I think it was a very strange time.
But he had no choice to do it.
I think for health reasons he knew he had to start focusing on losing weight, so he'd set himself a goal. He was supposed to do it in a full competition. Unfortunately, lockdown hit.
I know what he could do about
it. The reality of it is, if Thor was obviously wanting to retire then, which I assume he was, lockdown went on from an arena point of view, went on for 2 years. We were allowed arenas for two and a bit years, so he did it at the start of lockdown. Well, you can't just delay your retirement for 2 years just for one lift.
I mean, Andy knows all about lifting big weights, and you cannot be at that peak level.
No. You can't.
Thor was massive, wasn't it? Again, it was huge.
Yeah, you just can't, and in 2 years' time he might not have been in that shape. Again, them lifts don't come around often.
One little injury or anything.
Eddie did it once and he were done.
I remember my biggest lift was 435 kilos. Unfortunately tore my lat going for 1,000 miles or 450.
That was at Headingley, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're there against that day.
And I never got back to that level. So sometimes when you're at that peak point, you've just got to go.
Sometimes, thinking as well, when I squatted 550 kilo, that 1,200 pound squat, I did it once. Previous to that, I'd done 520, my biggest squat ever, the year before, and then I come in 2007 and squatted 550.5 for all-time record. I never got past 510, 500 again. That one time. It just was one of them days where it all went perfect. And I was only 37, I wasn't past it, because I pulled £1,000 2008, 2 years later.
It's funny,
so I'm still strong. It just it didn't happen again.
People always ask me. They'll say, "Oh, do you reckon Eddie could have pulled more that day? Do you reckon Thor could have pulled more that day?" And the answer is maybe. You can't guarantee it. And like you said, there's no guarantee they're going to do more ever again.
No,
the training, the timing, it all has to be.
It takes a lot. Even if you pull a weight like that, it looks easy. The strain it takes,
but
not on your life building up to it. I sacrificed everything for that, my health, everything. I know Eddie did the same. And you can't keep on doing that.
No, you can't
do it.
Not that sort of way. And I
that
think
risk versus you might even get it again. Once you've done it once, you need to do it again.
People say, "No, could they have done more?" Well, to plan it, if they'd have gone for 510 or whatever, or that'd have been crazy because they've got to go. Eddie went for 500 because it was a big number. Thor went for 501 because it was
just
1 kilo more. But the thing is, really, why would they have gone for 510? And I think they both could have pulled more. The honest truth. But once you've done that and you put your body through that, do you really want to go lift again like that?
Probably not. Unless you train at a level general people looking on the internet don't understand what it's like. 500, you just go 5'10". They don't understand because they don't train at that level. They've never put the body through that pressure, that stress, what it takes.
Exactly, and the reality of it is, the only two people on this planet that know what it feels like is them two. I know they don't get on, but they've got one massive thing in common. They know what it feels like.
I know what £1,000 felt like, and you're talking £100 more.
Yeah.
The stress of my body, I remember I didn't have the straps on, so my forearms were took a beating. I remember going back to work 4 days later, and I couldn't put my arm on the window for like 2-3 weeks. My forearms were strained. The whole body, I had a month off training.
I remember
I was just completely wasted.
First time I pulled 430, Britain's strongest man, I came and trained with you a week later, and I struggled to pull 300 kilos. Because my central nervous system was just so fried.
Your body's going to do that. It's going to try and protect you and shut down a bit. You know?
I used to have a month off, and then my first deadlift back at gym was 180. Then you just pull 1,000. 4 weeks ago, you're pulling 180. And it looks tough.
Yeah,
because you peaked to that one day, that one moment. You have to be strong all day.
So who do we think's going to pull big weights then? What are we thinking for this show?
Well, we've got an incredible list of athletes. I personally, I think there's like 10, 15, 20% chance maybe that someone can hitch out a 505. I don't believe anyone is going to pull it as well as Eddie and Thor did. But there's a couple of athletes that are looking very powerful. If they can get that bar above their knees, they might hitch it out. The likes of maybe a Payman. If we can get him over,
the thing is,
what he's done in training is impressive.
I've just been watching the training and Payman. I've just seen him do 450 for a double.
Yeah.
He bounced the second rep. And what I'm finding with a lot of these guys, Evan Singleton, I noticed a few of them, because of the straps. Straps help you great, but what I find they're doing is they're pulling it too fast off the floor, they're yanking it off the floor. When it gets to the knee, they've lost position, and that's why you see them jerking around. Now, you can't hitch a 500 kilos with that bendy bar. With that weight, it's going to chuck them all over. So I honestly don't think anybody, what I've seen, could do 505 at this show, but I think what you're going to get is an amazing deadlift competition. Battling.
Well, that's interesting, because if you look at how Eddie and Thor pulled, they didn't hitch anything.
Drive it like that. No, they didn't. When I pulled my 1,000, because without straps, you can't yank it as hard. So you've got to be in position. When that bar gets to your knee, your hips have got to be back to drive into it. A lot of these guys are losing it at the knee, and the glutes have come forward. So now they're hitching it. Now trying to hitch 505 on a bar like that, it's not going to happen. I think Ivan is the one man I've seen who's strong enough, but I just think he trains too heavy in the gym, too close.
I find with him, and I've said this before, but he's still, last year he came and pulled 475,
he did.
Which is incredible.
It is.
But he's constantly going at these high 400 numbers, isn't he?
And
he's probably had more attempts now on a high 400, 500 kilo.
He does 550 off boards, but I don't see how that's going to benefit off the floor for that sort of weight. On the board, if you're training off a board like that, it should be training your weakness. When I pulled off boards, I pulled 400. When I pulled 455 off the floor, it was weakness. If you're pulling 550 off the board, it's not a weakness.
Do you think when they're doing the board, they're often changing their hip position to start with, so they're not actually working that?
And they're also starting with the boards too high. So they're overloading the top end. But it's not helping from the floor getting into that position. It's too much. And to recover from a 550 board pull, I don't care if you're Superman, I don't care who you are, it takes time to recover. It takes a lot of time.
It's a hell of a lot of weight.
So let's go through the athletes then, and we'll see what we all think they're capable of, because we do have an amazing lineup. I mean, let's start with the local boy, Gav Bolton. He's just pulled 420 kilos, made it look very, very good actually.
I think Gav was here last week, and Gav's sort of remit is he wants to do well in a full show, because let's remember there's another 4 events in front of his home crowd, but he wants to get £1,000. And looking at what he just pulled, I think he will.
Well, I think the 420 is actually his PB. I think he's definitely got 435 in him.
He pulled 425 at last year's championships, didn't he?
Did he pull?
Him and Andy Black pulled 425.
That was actually a world record.
I think he needs to make sure he gets that 435 and then give the £1,000.
425.
What the jumps are the same as well?
So it's going to be 400, 425, £1,000, which is like 453, isn't it? And then it's going to be 475, then 555.
Okay, just big jumps, and the athletes can skip jumps.
They can do what they want. So I think Gav's going to get 1,000.
I can see him doing that. For 420, I'm just saying, I think he can do it.
He's up for, he's one of these, like when the crowd's there, he does get up for it.
Home crowd as well. It's going to be quite a special moment for him.
Definitely,
So who we got next? We got Paradoya. He stepped in last minute. He's only had a few weeks to train for it. His his actual biggest competition pull is only 360, I believe.
Right,
So I'm
okay.
pretty sure he's going to smash that.
I don't know what his deadlift's like.
I think 400 to 425.
Yeah, I think at the 425. He's been doing some. I saw a video of him doing 380 for some nice reps. Yeah, I think he'll get
I think
425.
he doubled 400 just
Right,
last week as well. So, you know, I mean, Parr could well come last in the deadlift, and he's still pulling over 400 kilos, which is pretty crazy.
But I think Parr's got some good events in the rest of the show as well.
Yeah.
You know, he's looking at the show as such. He's not going there to pull 505.
Yeah. So who else we got? We got Gabe Pena coming over from the States. He pulled 1,000 pounds last year.
Yeah.
You guys seen much of Gabe recently?
I've seen bits of his training. Yeah. It's going to be a tough ask to pull more than 455, I think. From 455 to 475, it doesn't sound like a lot.
I see.
It's a huge jump.
It's a massive
yeah.
jump. It's a massive jump.
I actually think he's just had a baby.
Yeah.
I don't know how well his training's been going. I think he might fail the 455.
Yeah.
I think 425 maybe the best. And it's not a knock on him. He's just got a lot on right now. And you said yourself, just because you pulled 1,000 pounds once doesn't mean you're going to do it again
You're going to straight and do that. Right?
Yeah, it's such a massive.
I mean, so it's Strongman. It's so hard because if they're doing full shows, the training up to this, the training for how many events are you training?
Yeah.
There's recovery. When I was doing a £1,000 deadlift, his squat backed off a bit. Yeah, I squatted, but it wasn't like over £1,000.
They've still got 5 events.
But they've got all them events, but it's not just on the competition day. It's in training to this. They can't just not train events and just focus on deadlift.
Some of the guys have competitions coming up as well a few weeks later, so there's a lot to focus on. Who else are we looking at then? Payman, if he can get over.
Well, Payman is struggling with his visa, but he's coming any day apparently. But we have this all the time with him. It's obviously difficult to get over. It's a big problem that we have. I think Payman would definitely do 475 because I know he's done it before. He pulls very fast, like Andy said. He pulls very fast, and he can't hitch 505 because it'll just pull it out of your hands, you know. But I think he'll have a go at it.
I think if he's coming over, he's going to try.
Yeah,
he's going to try.
For me, the exciting thing is if we can get Payman over, is to see him against the best.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's why I want
training
to see
videos are one thing, but seeing him against a lineup, things change.
There's a number of athletes that Asku Caro as well. We've seen some incredible things from him on the internet.
Yeah.
I want to see him against the best guys, and it could be something special.
How's he perform? You know, two things could happen with Asku. We don't know a lot about him. Well, how's he perform in front of a crowd? He could be better, it could be worse.
Yeah.
You know, he probably don't even know himself. It's a big, massive crowd.
It doesn't always work for everybody, does it?
But sometimes it does.
And also warming up with these guys backstage. They've watched them on TV. You're warming up with them now. It can be intimidating sometimes. It really can. And they're getting pushed out at warm-ups a little bit. They're not doing the numbers they normally do when they're at home in the gym. Taking the rest time's not the same. Everything changes.
We all know it's not always, things don't always go to plan. A lot of people on the internet watching see these lifts, people doing their own gyms and stuff like that, but competition is different. You've got to be ready to go, not when you're ready to go, when it's time to go from the organising point of view. You've got to cope with that pressure of travelling, you've got to cope with the mental exertion as well. There's a lot of factors that come into play. So, what about Mr. Consistency, 2020 World's Strongest Man? He is... How many Giants Lives has Novikov won now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Alexei Novikov, I think he's at 10 international wins. He's still only 26 years old.
He's good at everything across the board, isn't he?
Pulled 1,000 pounds last year, which was unbelievable because I watched him in the warm-ups and he was struggling with 370.
He never looks good in the warm-ups.
I know.
I don't know what it is. It's like he tricks everybody. I think he'll get £1,000. The reason I think he will is because he's so ballsy.
Yeah.
I just don't think he doesn't take no for an answer. It's like £1,000 will go because he knows he's done it before, and he's not the sort of guy who'll go, oh, I don't feel too good today. He'll just do it. I'm sure of that.
And he's the kind of. I think his mentality will be, I want to win the whole competition.
I was going to say that, he won't be worried about 475.
He won't be worried about...
Get good points on that, leave the deadlifters alone, and just think about the show.
But he'll need £1,000 to get the good points.
Yeah.
So what about his countryman coming back for his second Giants Live, Pavlo Nekonechny? We haven't really seen much of him training-wise. I certainly haven't. I don't know if you guys have. Last year we saw a lot leading up and he looked phenomenal. This year he's much more quiet.
I don't know what that's to do with, obviously they've got a lot going on over there, I don't know. I mean, I think he's got massive potential. Obviously he did all that in the IPF. He was a European champion in the IPF, wasn't he? I think he's got a chance of it. Not people know this, but last time when he came over, he was ill. He'd lost about 15 kilos. so obviously he skipped the 475, and he's used to training for powerlifting shows and knowing.
I was going to say, with powerlifting, it runs in a certain order. They're not at a peak for that show. Everything's so his deadlift form's good. He's not a hitcher. From powerlifting, we don't know what his shape is in.
But if he comes in 15, 20 kilos heavier, like he says he's got,
it's potentially 475. I don't think 505, but 475. I can see.
But he missed that last year.
I can see him doing
the other question about this is, we're saying what everyone's going to do. Who's going to miss 475? Because if I thought I could pull 505, I won't be doing 475.
No chance.
I think this is going to be a tactic that we'll see displayed. I know someone that's going to skip the 475 is Mitch Hooper.
Yeah.
He wants
He's got to do if you're in a 505.
Yeah, he's coming over and he said, I don't care about the whole comp, I want to try and pull 505.
Yeah.
So it's the right tactic to do. You're not going to do 1,000 pounds, 475, 505. It's just going to take too much out of your body. What do you guys think of that? I mean, I coach him, and I personally don't think he's going to pull it.
I do. I've seen his training videos, and what did he do last 420 last I've seen?
He did 445 for a single.
It didn't look speedy, like contact boom.
He's got great power off the floor again. He's one of these lifters with tremendous power off the floor.
Yeah.
It's that lockout phase. He believes if he can get it over his knees, he's going to hitch it. I know from your experience, you don't think with that kind of weight.
I don't think you can hitch it like that. Not to that. You see some of them when they put it to the knees, the lighter guys, and they squat down and drag it up. That's not a weight you can do that with.
No.
It's not a weight you can do that with. And that moves around. Even if it moves a little bit in front of you, it's good forward.
You're going forward, yeah.
Backwards, you're falling backwards. You're not going. It's something you can just yank around for a while and get it stand up with it.
Yeah.
But potentially, I think he's a man for the next few years who can pull that 505.
Well, I think he's a thinking man as well.
But I think he needs to back off. When you're training for strongman, all these competitions leading up to it, for 505 you can't do that. You've got to be focused on one thing only.
He's in a bit of a dilemma at the moment because he's new. He's trying to get as much experience as possible. He's got the Shore Classic coming up. He's got Canada's Strongest Man. He's got Arnold UK's, a few other events that he's kind of focused on. So it's a busy year for him.
But that's great for him because he's new to strongman. He's got to get as much experience as he can.
I think this year he needs that experience. I think next year we could see.
Then, like you said, if you're coaching him in a year or two, when he's ready to back off all the other shows and really focus on that, I don't think you can compete at a level on both. Eddie never did it, did he? Backed on. No, Thor did the same.
You have to focus on that sole goal, I think.
You can't do a strongman show 5-6 weeks before and then trying to pull a...
Well, Eddie and Thor obviously sacrificed a lot of fitness to do it.
Oh yeah.
They were both massive when they did do it.
Huge.
And they weren't bothered about strongman as such in a general show.
So, I mean, you're not staying at that sort of weight for long.
Yeah.
Body weight. It's not healthy, is it?
No.
So last year's deadlift champion, Ivan Makarov, he's coming back. We've seen some crazy numbers from him. Is he going to pull 505 finally? We spoke earlier about him a little bit, but
he's the one man. If his training were perfect, I think he could do it.
Do you think last year he made a mistake going for the 475?
He did if he wanted 505, but to win the championships and get the money, I think he did the right thing.
Yeah,
because it was more than anybody else could do. He's a solid 475 deadlifter. He can do that in any competition if he's in shape.
Yeah.
But to step up from that 30 kilo more, it's a massive.
I think it was a mistake. I think it was a mistake. But I also, if you look at him, the thing I liked about him was a bit like Benny, really. Like when he's locked out, he's like, his arms are like down here, and so I know you only got it to here, right? But that wasn't much of a movement for him.
But that's after a 475 pull as well.
Yeah. It's massive, yeah. I think he made a mistake last year. I think if I was him, I wouldn't be doing 475.
No, you can't if you want to do 505. If he's going for win and for money.
And based on last year, he actually came last in the overall competition. Yeah. So come here to break the record.
You would do.
You know yourself. How many attempts do you get at those kind of crazy numbers? Yeah. It gets harder.
Yeah.
At some point, if he wants to do strongman, he's going to have to sort of almost forget about that massive deadlift. Not forget about it, but he's going to be a great deadlifter if he never deadlifts again in his life, you know what I mean?
Well, he is, yeah, he's up there at all-time best.
But if he wants to do world's strongest man, he needs to get a bit more mobile, you know what I mean? But he's got a hell of a lot of muscle tissue on him.
Oh, he's got a lot of muscle. That back is full of slabs and slabs of muscle. He's built perfectly for deadlifting. I think he's vocally said the deadlift's where his real focus is. He wants. Who else tries to do 500 kilos plus that many times? I think if there's one man capable, maybe it's him.
I think it is out of all of them. Honestly, he's a man who can do it if his training's on point. He hasn't overtrained. He hasn't done all too heavy, too close. He's the one I'd put money on.
And I think strength-wise, there's a few of them that are at that strength. But I honestly think it's his makeup of his body.
He's got the strength, I think. It's just timing it to the right day.
That's it.
But I don't think a lot of us are quite there yet.
What about Evan Singleton? He's another athlete that's done exceptionally well in Giants Live in the past. He's impressed the hell out of me with his improvement on his deadlift over the last 3-4 years. You know, deadlift was a weakness. Last year he went and pulled 1,000 pounds.
I think he'll do that again. I think he'll do that.
Yeah, I've seen his training. I think Evan though, he just seems to pull off that floor too fast. He yanks it a little bit.
Yeah.
See when he gets to his knees, he's doing 400s. How he's jerking around.
Yeah.
That's hard to do with 1,000 pounds and stuff. It pulls you out of line. It pulls you forward.
He did it last year though. To be fair,
he did.
You know. His 1,000 pounds off the floor was the fastest one.
Yeah, it is because he sacrifices a little bit of form off the floor. That's why when he gets to his knees, that's when that trouble's coming at his knee.
I worry about Evan. I really like him. I've got a lot of time for him, and I think he just needs to focus a little more on technique and just cool his head sometimes a little bit.
That's what I see with his training. He's a little bit erratic.
It's aggressive.
He's too aggressive. Yeah. There's no control there at all. He's squatting, same. His damn box squats were dropping like that. Yeah. It's not meant to be.
And the risk of doing that is when you're young, you can get away with it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly your body starts giving out, and he just needs to be careful because he's got so much power, so much potential. He's a great competitor.
Yeah.
He always gives 100%.
He's one of those guys that's got to go mental to do well. This is a problem. And his deadlift, he's like a bomb going off the bottom.
How old is he?
I think he's like 30 years.
How long's he been doing strongman?
Not that long.
You see, he's still young in strongman.
Yeah.
You think even though he's 30,
I think like 3 years.
Yeah, he's still young in strongman, so he was still learning.
Yeah.
He will get better at controlling things and training wise.
He's already won a number of Giants Live shows. It's that World's Strongest Man performance, I think, that's playing on his head a little bit.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of bad luck though, to be fair.
He has done, and I think he just needs to control. You need that aggression, but you need to learn to control it as well.
Yeah, you do.
And I think once he does that, just tidies up his technique a little bit, he's going to be a force.
Yeah, he is.
He's already a force.
Yeah, he is.
He's a top 10 in the world without a doubt. Yeah. If you can get him there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But he's had every bit
of
bad
luck. Could he be?
Oh yeah, it could be.
It's an exciting thing to think with some solid. I think a year's solid work on technical improvements. He'd be phenomenal.
Who's his coaches him?
Dirk's coaches him, yeah.
I know.
Adam's a technically good deadlifter.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's very good. I know him pretty well.
No, I mean, I think what it is with Evan as well, you know, like he trains in my gym when he comes over, and there could be no one in there. He can be on his own, and he still goes 100%. You know, some people are like, oh, well, I'm on my own doing log. You see him, you walk in, he's on his own doing log, and he's proper maxing out, and he doesn't need. So, although he is a hype guy, he is that guy who shouts and screams. He'll do it on his own. Yeah, you know what I mean, which is a big deal. Yeah, you know, a lot of these guys need someone next to him prodding him. Where he just doesn't.
The only thing is just learning when to switch it on and when to bring it back down.
I agree.
And once he can do that, I think we're going to see.
He switches it on a bit early, doesn't he? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Especially at a competition like Worlds, it actually probably helps for the Deadlift World Championships, but it's then making sure you've got everything.
That adrenaline, you've only got a store of it. Once it's gone. It takes time to refill.
Yeah.
That's what I always found.
What about the South African deadlift record holder, Chris van der Linde? He's pulled 1,000 pounds, I believe.
He has, yeah. I think he did it without a suit as well.
That's a strong. That's impressive.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen too much of him. He asked for an invite. I agree that he deserved one. South African record holder. He's just doing the deadlift. He's not doing the rest of the show.
Okay.
And I think, he's a very strong guy. There's no doubt about it.
I think again, you know, he's certainly someone I'm looking at to pull 1,000 pounds to add to that list of athletes that can get. You know, imagine if we had 8, 9, 10 guys pulling 1,000 pounds.
Could happen.
We could potentially have 4 or 5 guys pulling 475, which is a very scary thought. 2 guys that I think potentially could pull 475. Graham Hicks and Rauno Hainler, both very technically good lifters in terms of strongman. Both strong at lockout. I think if they get it past their knees, you know, it's not going to be hitchy.
Yeah, neither one of them really hitch like that. The control off the floor, which is good. They've got that.
Well, Hainler's always good at deadlifting. You know what I mean? He can always pull.
I think he pulled 460 though in training.
He did.
Yeah.
The Masters record, I believe, is 440. So he could be smashing the Masters record.
He needs to do that in a show, doesn't he? Yeah.
So if he pulls 475, that is a actual world record.
Yeah.
That's possible because that 460 were good. And if
actually, 455 will be a world record as well. So
yeah.
So that would be.
And
but what would he do though? He wouldn't be able to do 455, then 475 straight after. I don't think he could do that.
Personally, I think for both Rauno and Hicksy, they will think about the whole competition.
Yeah.
Hicksy.
The one they're invited to World's Strongest Man.
Yeah. Hicksy's probably For me, I think Hicksey's one of the strongest men on the planet when it comes to static strength, and I think he'll want to come and show people he's more than just. Everyone knows him as a log lifter, but he's a great all-round athlete.
Do you know the truth is with Hicksey, right? Hicksey, when he's on form, he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But then he'll have, he'll maybe I can't bother training and he has a few little injuries and stuff like that. But when he's on form, he's one of the strongest. He's like top 10 in the world.
Yeah.
Any day of the week. But at the minute, he's on form.
Wait, what was it? 440 doubled?
Yeah.
Strong.
That is
very
crazy.
And it looked easy.
Yeah.
It looked easy. But and also, you see, for the rest of the show, Hicksey's got really good events. Like, I think Hicksey can win the whole show.
I believe
because
so.
I think he out of the guys that can do the rest of the events, he's the best deadlifter, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And he's got really good events in the rest of the show. He's got log, which I don't know who's going to beat him at log. Hammer hold he's very good at. Hicksey, people don't understand how good he is at stones.
He's a good stone.
He can throw those stones up.
Yeah.
And then what else have we got? We've got
front hold, you said? Yeah.
Front hold, and we've got a medley. It's like a loading medley. And he can do that.
He's not slow, is he?
No.
Not slow.
I personally think it's going to be between Hicksey and Novikov for the overall.
Yeah.
But,
and Evan as well, I think, possibly. But you see those events as well. Mitchell Hooper can move with all those things as well. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion.
It could all come down to the deadlift, because if a lot of people are tied on points, there's going to be that gap between people. So getting that 475 for the overall
competition. They might have to gamble on the 455 and jump from 425 and then lose all in points.
So it's going to be interesting to see what people do.
I mean, you've got to focus, like you said, they've got to focus on, before they even go there, what do we want to do today?
If Hicksey pulls 475, exactly, you're right.
Yeah.
If Hicksey pulls 475, he's going to win.
Hicksey's smart with that. He'll get enough points just to stay in there.
Yeah. I think Hicksey will focus on the whole show.
I think he will.
Yeah, I really do.
I think he will.
But
he's never been known as a deadlifter.
No, which is crazy.
Yeah, you know,
when you see what he lifts, I mean, the actual deadlift performances have been very impressive from him.
Yeah.
What we see in the gym, I mean, I went and trained with Hicksey last year and Mark Felix, and he was pulling on an axle.
Yeah.
He was out pulling. I mean, I wasn't really strong at the time, but he was out pulling Mark easily as well.
Well, there was a phase for Hicksey, he would pull an axle all the time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
All his training on axle and then wheels all the time.
Yeah.
He put some big numbers. Now, when you go back to a bar after training on that, I used to train on a stiff bar all the time. I didn't own a deadlift bar. I only used it at the competition day. And the amount of extra kilos I got from that deadlift bar to train on a stiff bar. Now, an axle, there's zero there. There's nothing in it.
Yeah.
Whatever way that is, you're getting that.
Yeah, you're getting it all. Yeah.
Just while I've got you here, Andy, because you mentioned that, I get quite frustrated with a lot of youngsters that they want a deadlift suit, they want a deadlift bar, they want everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to people getting into powerlifting and strongman?
You don't need any of that. I had one bar, I squatted on it, benched on it, deadlifted on it.
Yeah.
Didn't own a deadlift suit until I started getting over 900 pounds. I think it's internet though. It's internet. It's put a deadlift suit on. I'll pull 30 kilos more. Put some straps on. Add a hitch.
Yeah.
But they need to learn. I think now I see young kids learning to hitch.
Yeah.
From the beginning. Now to me that's the problem, because you need to learn how to do a proper deadlift.
Yeah.
A powerlifting style deadlift. Then if it comes to a competition, you had a suit, put your straps on, you had a hitch. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you need to learn how to do it without the hitch.
In the gym.
And add a hitch for advantage.
Yeah.
Not this is because then you're lacking in power in your glute power. You're not able to drive forward. You're missing so much. So younger kids, a regular stiff bar, forget your deadlift bars, and just train hard on the basics. Just have a belt on, and that's it.
You're strange.
And progress.
The hitching every single rep out there.
Yeah.
They're doing reps of hitching, whereas hitch to me was always like it's your emergency thing where you're almost going to fail, so you hitch it,
But they're training it now in the lift from warming up.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's completely changed.
It's going to be an exciting event. You guys going to pick a winner or pick a potential 505 puller, or do you think it'll be maybe a couple of guys tying?
I don't think 505 will go, if I'm honest. Ivan, Mitch, Hooper, both 475, Ryan Heinle possibly as well. Depends on the overall competition, what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Who else is in there? Payman, possibly. It's
going to be
tough,
fun. It's one of the hardest ones to predict, I think, because you got Asku Karu, who's an unknown.
See, we don't know what he's done this time, do we? What his training's been going like.
Pavlo Nekonechny, we don't know what he's been doing, and he's extremely strong from what we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
Jumps that people take, it could be really, really surprising results. But you guys need to make sure you tune in. It's going to be in Cardiff. It's going to be on the Facebook page on Giants Live.
There'll be a live stream there.
An official Strongman for people to watch. So if you can't make it, make sure you tune into there. Let us know below who you think's going to win. Who's going to pull the biggest number? Do you think we're going to see 505?